Okay, welcome everyone. We're gonna get started. And before we even begin our practice, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that the land that we're on right now is not ours. And so taking a moment to extend gratitude to our Indigenous culture, taking a moment to really thank the people and ancestors who came before us for allowing us to use this land. My name is Megan Kirk Chang, and I'm so grateful to connect with the Blue Matter Project to bring accessible and affordable mental health resources and yoga to our community. So for today's practice, we're going to be exploring a trauma-informed yoga session. And whether this is your first class ever or your 100 class, I just welcome you today to get curious, to explore your body and your mind exactly as they are today. Trauma-informed yoga recognizes that the impact of trauma affects the whole person, physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, occupationally. Trauma-informed yoga really emphasizes reconnecting back to your body in safe and healing ways. And so I'm not going to promise you that every single movement or form that we take today is going to feel peaceful or relaxing. In fact, I argue that some of the forms that we'll be moving into today will actually allow you to connect perhaps with grief, to connect with sadness, to connect with anger. And so before we begin, I want you to really trust that you are safe here. Trust that you know what your body needs in each and every moment. And that if at any time you're uncomfortable or something doesn't feel right for you, you have full control over this experience. You can come out of a form or shape, or you can stay in a form or shape as long as you'd like. And I'm merely here to help guide you through a different set of shapes, but you get to choose ultimately what feels most comfortable for you. So with that in mind, we're going to take a couple of moments to just arrive wherever you're at in your environment. And what I mean by that is come to settle in a seated or lying down position. And perhaps if it feels comfortable, you can take the eyes to a gentle close. If that doesn't feel safe, you can gently direct the gaze off the tip of the nose. Seeing if you can draw your attention to the areas of the body that are connected to a solid surface. And taking a couple of moments to scan through the body, perhaps noticing the emotional tone of the body. And what I mean by that is, what are the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that you might notice in this moment? Not trying to judge them as right or wrong, or assess them as good or bad, but just allowing whatever feeling or emotion you're feeling in this moment to just be there to observe. Scanning where emotion might live in your body. Perhaps you notice a feeling or emotion in the neck, or in the hips, in the gut. And instead of judging it, see if you can just let it be there. I'm taking a moment now to think about the physical tone of your body in this moment. Scanning up through each of the major joints of the body. Just noticing certain temperatures. Noticing any vibration or tingling sensation. Maybe a dull ache or maybe a louder ache. And again, not assessing or critiquing whether it's good or bad or right or wrong. We're just taking inventory in this moment of how we're arriving to our mat. And you can continue as long as you'd like to scan up and down the body. When you feel ready, we're going to begin to draw the attention and notice our breath. And so you might explore what it feels like to place a hand gently on your heart and the other hand gently on the abdomen. If that doesn't feel safe or comfortable, you can gently rest the palms on the legs or interlace the fingers in your lap. Just choosing a form that allows you to tune in to your flow of breath. Knowing that right here in this moment, there is no special way that you need to breathe. Your body already knows. And just tuning into the subtle rhythm of your breath. Perhaps experimenting with what it feels like to draw more breath into the body. Or you might notice what it feels like to draw breath into the sides of the body or down low, if that feels comfortable. Or maybe you experiment with what it feels like to lengthen and slow down the breath. Or add a different intensity. Just getting in tune with and in touch with your natural breath. And taking a moment to extend yourself gratitude for showing up to your mat today. I always say it doesn't matter what happens on your mat, just showing up is a huge step forward in your healing journey. And then if it feels comfortable for you, extending that gratitude outwards. Perhaps allowing a person come to mind that you cherish or think fondly of, and just extending them gratitude in this moment. And finally, extending that gratitude even further to the teachers, to the philosophers from our Eastern cultures who were the founders of the practice of yoga and the practice of mindfulness. So when you feel comfortable, taking a moment to draw the hands to the knees and the legs, or again, you can take the hands into the lap. We're going to begin by starting with awakening our neck and spine. And so as you're ready, doesn't matter which side you choose, we're going to drop one ear down towards that same shoulder on the same side. And you get to choose how far you'd like to tilt the head. Just noticing a gentle stretch to the side of the neck. If you'd like, you can experiment with perhaps walking the fingertips out on the opposite side and noticing if that feels good in the body to lengthen, or you can stay exactly where you are. We're going to be here for another 3 breaths. Allowing that neck to open. So often we hold tension in the neck. And taking your last breath here. And when you're ready, slowly bringing the neck back to center. And moving into the opposite side. So drawing the opposite ear now down towards the shoulder on the same side. And you might notice that one side feels a little bit different than the other. And that's completely normal. And if you'd like, and it feels comfortable in this moment, you may welcome extending the opposite arm out, tiptoeing the fingers as far as feels comfortable for you. And gently walking the fingertips back, drawing the neck to a neutral position. And just notice how that feels in the body. We're going to take a moment now, as you're comfortable, to drop the chin towards the chest and feel lengthening through the back of the neck. And just some slight side to side rotations. Again, slow and intentional, as slow as you'd like. As we open up through the neck. And just take about 2 more rotations on your own time. And when you feel ready, bringing it back to a neutral seated position. Opening up through the front of the neck now, we're going to tilt the head up towards the sky. To lengthen through the front of the neck, often an area that might feel a little vulnerable as this area relates to our voice. And so if at any time any emotion or sensation emerges that doesn't feel comfortable, remember that you can always come back to a different form in the body. Gently, when you're ready, coming through neutral and tucking the chin towards the throat, just to even out and balance. Just allowing that movement to settle, checking in with the neck, the shoulders. And we're going to move now, when you're ready, into some shoulder rolls. So we'll start by drawing the shoulders up towards the ears and rolling them back and away. You get to choose the pace. So maybe you want to experiment with going a little quicker or really slowing down. Maybe you start off small and gradually make larger circles. And if you'd like, you can move the shoulders in the opposite direction. And just noticing what each side might feel like. Oftentimes we might have one side of the body feel a little bit more tense than the other. This is completely normal. And as you're comfortable, you may want to experiment with alternating either shoulder or alternating directions. So getting a little playful here and exploring what it feels like to move the shoulders in a way that feels really good for you. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths, moving the shoulders in whatever direction feels comfortable for you. And last breath. And just allowing that movement to settle in the body. Moving now towards awakening the spine. If it feels comfortable for you, taking the hands around the knees as a bit of an anchor point for you. And I'll explain how this form works before we do this together. But we're going to be curving the spine forwards and backwards. And this just allows each of the vertebrae to move in ways that typically we don't allow them to when we're sitting for long periods of time. And so for the first form, we're going to tilt the tailbone underneath us, scoop through the belly, round through the shoulders, and draw the chin to chest, creating this beautiful C curve through the back body. And remember, if at any point this doesn't feel comfortable for you, you are welcome to come out of this form and move in a way that does feel comfortable. Then we'll move into the opposite form where we come through center. We glide the tailbone far back behind us, open through the heart, take the gaze to the sky, and imagine this concave C through the front body. And using your breath, we will exhale as we tuck the tailbone under, round through the shoulders, scoop through the belly, chin to chest. And then we'll inhale through center, glide the tailbone behind us, take the gaze to the sky, open the heart. And so working on your own pace here, moving as fast or as slow as you'd like, matching the breath to each form. And we'll do 4 more rotations at your own pace. We'll do 2 more rotations here, just observing and noticing. And whenever you're ready, coming back to center and allowing that movement to settle into the body. So we've moved the spine forwards and backwards. And now what we're going to do is gently bring a slight twist to the spine. This is really good to, almost as if you wring out a towel, sort of mimicking this experience with the spine to awaken through the organs, awaken through the abdomen, where our digestion is, but also feelings linked to our gut instinct. And so if at any point this doesn't feel comfortable for you, just come back to a neutral, resting, seated position. It doesn't matter which side you'd like to start on, but we're going to take one hand and gently place it behind the hip on that same side. As you feel comfortable, we'll inhale, one arm up to the sky, and we're going to cross that arm over top of the body to the opposite knee. As you feel comfortable, we'll inhale, lengthen the spine here. And as you exhale, bring a slight twist to the spine, remembering not to create pain in the body, but just a gentle twist. You can stay in this form as long as you'd like. Stay here for 2 more breaths. One more breath. Gently unraveling, coming back to center, just allowing that twist and form to settle into the body. Taking your opposite hand now, we're gently going to place it behind the hip on the same side. And drawing a long, slow breath in, perhaps taking the gaze up to the sky. And as you exhale, crossing that arm across the body to the knee on the opposite side. And gently drawing a twist to this side. We'll stay here together for 3 long breaths. Last breath. And as you exhale, gently coming back to center and just allowing that twist to settle into the body. And you're welcome to do as many rotations of twists as you'd like. We're going to move now into some hip circles. And so taking the hands to the knees as you're comfortable, or some other form that feels right for you. Just going to draw some circles to the hips and to the abdomen. Choosing a direction that you'd like to start with. And just getting playful with experimenting the pace of your circles and the size of your circles. You might feel like you want to start to go in the opposite direction, and that's available to you. Or you might stay exactly where you are. Just letting our hips know that we're going to be exploring with curiosity any sensations in the hips. So we'll do 3 more rotations on our own pace and time. And whenever you feel ready, finding your way back to a neutral seated position and just letting that movement settle into the body. So any of the movements that we've done so far, you're welcome to revisit or go back to at any time. We're going to be exploring a little bit more of what it feels like to open the hips. And so we're going to set our legs up in what I like to call, looks like a pinwheel shape. And so you can start on any side. You're going to take your front leg, the shin to be parallel with the edge of your mat. And you're going to tuck your back leg behind you, the sole of the foot facing behind you, the knee connecting near the arch of the front foot. Okay, so this idea of the legs somewhat look like a pinwheel shape. Again, if this feels uncomfortable in any way for the hips or the body, you're welcome to adjust as is necessary. Notice what it feels like to draw a little bit of length in the spine. And we're going to take a long, slow breath into the body. And we're going to rotate over top of that front thigh. Exhale, fold forward as far as you're comfortable. And just notice where you might be holding on to tension in the body. See if you can use the breath to soften into this form, to find a little bit of space. And we're going to stay here for 2 more breaths. You're welcome to continue to stay if that feels good. We're going to tiptoe the hands back up towards center. And your back leg, see if it feels comfortable to extend it out into a one or side-legged stretch here. So if it's not comfortable to lengthen the entire leg, you can bring a little micro bend to the knee or bend the knee as much as you'd like. And just allowing yourself to feel a little bit of an opening through the inside of the thigh, maybe underneath the knee. If this feels like a stretch for you, stay exactly here. Otherwise, we're going to begin to just draw the arm on the same side inside the leg. And notice what it feels like to create this elbow-knee connection so that we can open up the front body towards the sky. Okay, this might feel like enough for you today. And so staying here. Or you might explore what it feels like to draw the opposite arm up and over top of the ear towards the toes. You're just experimenting with opening up through the side body. Perhaps you want to explore what it feels like to bring the breath into the side of the ribs or down into the hip. Remembering that you get to choose how long you want to stay in this shape. And you get to choose any adjustments that allow you to feel more comfortable. If you'd like, see what it might feel like to draw the top hand just behind the hip on that same side. We're going to press through the palm, lift the hips high, and extend our arm backwards to get a nice front body stretch here. Notice what it feels like to open up, to draw breath into the body, and slowly and gently coming back down to a seated position as you're comfortable. And just take a breath here to allow that movement to move through the body, knowing that you're safe here and that whatever you're feeling, whatever sensations are arising, are perfectly normal and okay. Moving now towards a wide-legged seated position. It's going to take some time here to what it feels like to open up through both legs. And as you're comfortable, I like to tiptoe my fingertips just out in front of me enough so that I feel an opening here through the hips and through the legs. You can experiment with what it feels like to tiptoe the hands further away or side to side if you'd like. You may wish to experiment with tucking the chin towards the throat. And we'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Just allowing that lower back to open up. Allowing the legs to open as you're comfortable, and slowly tiptoeing the hands back towards center. And just like we did on one side, we're going to move into our one-legged stretch on the opposite side, so the side that you haven't done yet. And if this feels comfortable right here, stay exactly here. And just allow that leg to continue to open. As you're comfortable, and if you'd like, you can draw the arm on the same side to the inside of the leg, creating a bit of a bind here. So the elbow-knee connection allows us to gently rotate and open up the heart towards the sky. So this might be where you'd like to explore the sensation of the shape in the body. And as you're comfortable, you may want to try to explore what it feels like to draw the opposite arm up and over top of the head. And as we continue to open up the body, if you'd like, you can take that top hand and draw it just behind the hip on the same side. Gently press into the hand to lift the body, finding length from the tips of the toes through the fingertips. And slowly drawing yourself back down to a seated position, allowing that movement to settle into the body. And finally, just like we began this sequence, coming into that pinwheel form on the opposite side. So your shin is parallel, your front leg shin is parallel with the top of the mat. And the opposite leg, the knee is somewhat in line with the sole of the front foot, the legs tucked behind you. As you feel comfortable, we're going to extend the arms up to the sky. Take a breath in, rotate slightly over that top thigh, and exhale. Gently draw the body towards the floor. You might notice some areas of tension in the body. And so make any adjustments that feel comfortable for you to gently come out of the form or do a different variation. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. And whenever you're ready, gently tiptoeing the hands back towards center. And drawing the legs out in front, maybe giving them a little massage if that feels good, or shaking out the legs if that feels good. Whatever movement intuitively comes to you to release the legs. As you're comfortable now, we're going to move into a tabletop position and form. And so what that looks like is drawing the hands underneath the shoulders and checking in with the knees as you're comfortable. Maybe seeing if they can be hip width apart. Noticing what it feels like to connect to the core, drawing the belly button to the spine. And moving through some spinal movement here. So on your next exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone underneath us, round through the shoulders, chin to chest. And then we're going to inhale through center. Take the gaze up towards the sky, tailbone to the sky. And move with our breath. As we explore movement in the spine. We'll go through 2 more rotations. On your own pace and own time. Come to settle back into your tabletop as you're comfortable. From here, you're welcome to sit this one out if it's not comfortable and connect to the breath. So we're going to move into an inverted triangle form. And so we take the hips high to the sky. Allow the ankles and the heels to relax towards the floor. And with as many steps as you need, we're going to tiptoe the feet towards the hands and come into a ragdoll position. I like to call this type of form a little bit like brainwashing, where we allow the blood flow to move to the head. Flushes out the toxins. When you're ready, you can stay as long as you'd like. We're slowly going to draw our body up 1 vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow and controlled until we come to a standing position. As we settle into a mountain pose, just take notice of your feet for a moment. You're welcome to explore bringing the feet really close together, or if you'd like, you can bring as much space as you'd like between the feet. And as you're comfortable, just gently rocking and exploring what it feels like to rock back and forth on the entire sole of the foot. And when you feel ready, just allowing the body to feel grounded and rooted into the floor beneath you. Notice what it feels like to draw a sense of energy and strength up through the legs, strong through the thighs and the core. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. And the next shape that we're going to take is a leg balancing shape. Oftentimes when we've experienced trauma, our proprioception, it's a very big word, but our sense of body awareness gets altered. And so when we do leg balancing forms in the body, it allows us to reconnect the neural pathways so that we can feel like we're back in the body. And so as you're comfortable, you can keep your hands at your side or on your hips. If you'd like to bring your hands together, you can do that. And choosing your favorite side, so it doesn't matter which side you start on, you're gonna shift your weight over into a side. I always like to lift up all 5 toes and then gently place them down. With your opposite leg, you're going to turn the knee outwards to a 90-degree angle and choose a place for the sole of the foot to connect to the leg. So it doesn't matter if it's down by the ankle or up by the calf. If you'd like, you can take the foot above the knee. Just gently not placing too much pressure on the actual knee joint. And just experimenting with taking the gaze off the tip of the nose. Trusting that if you come out of balance, you've got everything you need to know how to come right back in. And sometimes we can, especially in our healing journey, be very serious about our healing. And so see if you might take a moment right now to explore what it feels like to get playful. So you may want to experiment with taking the arms out wide or up tall, or perhaps shutting the eyes or doing some variation with the arms. Just getting out of that serious mindset for a moment if it feels comfortable for you. And trying something a little bit new. And when you're ready, taking the hands back to the hips and drawing that leg down and walking the feet out. And let that movement settle. Gently coming into the opposite side when you're ready. So shifting the weight into your opposite foot, perhaps lifting all 5 toes and exploring the sensation of spreading them wide and gently placing them back down. And then rotating that opposite knee out. And you can choose an option for the sole of the foot on this side, and it doesn't have to be the same. Maybe you'd like to explore keeping the foot on the ground. And just noticing the sensations that arise as we explore balancing on one leg. Some days it might feel like you come out of this balance 100 times, and some days maybe only once or twice. And it doesn't matter how many times you come out of balance, but rather taking a moment to trust that you can get right back into balance anytime. And then choosing a playful option, maybe something you didn't choose on the opposite side, taking the hands in a certain shape or form. Or if you didn't shut your eyes before and that feels like something you want to explore, you can try that. I'm just getting a little playful here as we explore what it feels like to balance. And when you're ready, gently releasing that shape and allowing the movement to settle into the body. We're going to begin now by moving to our mat to start to close the series. And so taking a couple of moments to gently find yourself on the seat, perhaps with a slight bend to the knees, and walking yourself onto the spine. And just taking a couple of breaths here to allow all the movement we've done today to settle. If you'd like to find a resting form in your body that feels comfortable, you can choose to find that now. And if you'd like to continue with a few last movements, we will do a form called a reclined twist. And so gently drawing the knees towards the chest. And you can take the hands to wrap around the knees if you'd like, or just keep the arms down to the side. It might feel good for you to extend one arm out into a T formation, but you don't have to. And then drawing the hips and knees towards the opposite side, gently bringing a twist into the body here. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths as we start to prepare for our resting form. And slowly drawing up and moving into the opposite direction as you're ready, as you're comfortable. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Gently drawing the knees back towards your chest. If it feels comfortable, a little hug here around the legs. And making your way on your own time to a final resting form that feels right for you in this moment. So whatever variation you'd like to choose with the legs or the arms. And I invite you to explore what it feels like to take up space. So often when we feel stressed or fearful, anxious, we make ourselves small. We retreat into ourselves physically and mentally. And so if it feels right for you in this moment, explore what it feels like to take up a little more space. Gently drawing the awareness to your breath. And just like we began the session, exploring and scanning through the body. Tuning into the emotional tone of the body. What thoughts or feelings or emotions may have shifted? What new thoughts or feelings may have surfaced? And seeing if you may extend your breath to any areas in the body that could continue to use your attention. You may choose to stay in your resting form as long as you like. You may choose to, whenever you're ready, bring some subtle movements to the fingertips and the toes. You may choose to bring yourself into a seated position, only if you'd like. As we end our practice today, I want to extend my gratitude and appreciation for taking the time to make it to your mat. As I said at the beginning, trauma-informed yoga doesn't promise that you will feel calm or peaceful right away, if at all. But it is designed to help you reconnect back to your body, help you to access emotions or sensations that you may have been ignoring or avoiding. And so I invite you over the next day, week, or month ahead to think about how you might take what you learned on your mat today into your life. Whether it's paying attention to your breath or being okay with not being okay. We can all take a lesson off of our mat today. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I am grateful for you. I'm thankful that you've been here, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye, everybody.